everyone, today I got an email from one of my subscribers and her question I feel like was very important and I feel like it needs to be discussed on my channel because when I was a teenager I sort of believed this too. Before I went to therapy I sort of believed this too. So my subscriber emailed me saying that she's recovering from self-harm. She has depression and anxiety but she's never been fully diagnosed by a professional for it. She says that she's had panic attacks from kindergarten to 5th grade but she feels like she grew out of them. Until 7th grade her anxiety started to grow and it didn't really stop. She started self-harming in 9th grade. She started in places where it wasn't that noticeable and then she started cutting in places that were noticeable. Her question for me is, do you think that even though my symptoms aren't as severe as other people who have self-harm tendencies or other mental illnesses, do you feel like I have a mental illness? She barely cuts and she doesn't relapse nearly as bad as she hears that other people do. She just doesn't know what or how to view her struggle and she doesn't want to compare it to a struggle of so many other brave people when she feels like her problems aren't as big as theirs. Now we get this a lot. We get this a lot by comparing ourselves to other people. In social media we do it all the time. We always compare ourselves to other people, no matter if it's height, weight, beauty, talent, anything. This girl's comparing her mental illness to somebody else's. She's never been fully diagnosed. To her I'm gonna say, I can't tell you if you have a mental illness. You need to go to a professional for that. I'm not a professional and I cannot give medical advice like that over the internet. I'm not gonna tell you if you have a mental illness, but I want to talk about this topic as a whole. When I was a teenager, I did compare my mental illness to other people. I felt like I saw online when I looked up self-harm pictures, other people were cutting deeper than me. Other people were cutting different places than me. Other people were having bigger struggles than me. And I felt like I didn't have a big struggle. I had a home, I had friends, I had an education. Why was I depressed? Why was I cutting? I'm not mentally ill because mentally ill people don't have homes, don't have families, live in Africa. People would tell me people in Africa don't have homes. They don't have food. You have food. Why are you depressed? And I would go, that's true. I probably don't have a mental illness because I have everything in my life together. But if you take a step back and look at where I was, things have been going on in my life with my family and just a lot of things with school has been really overwhelming for me lately. School's been really overwhelming for me. College is just great. I think I've just been sad these last few months. It started probably a month ago, month and a half ago, maybe more, maybe 2 months, where I'm just so tired and so overwhelmed lately. I didn't have the energy emotionally or physically to make a video, but I haven't been filming because I didn't really have anything nice to say about anything this last month. I just haven't had anything nice to say about myself or anything, and I didn't want to like put them online with me being sad. I didn't want to do that. I'm working through what I've been going through and I probably are gonna get better. I was in pain. I shouldn't have compared my mental illness to anyone else's because if you put two people who have depression in the same room, one person could have completely different symptoms than the other person. This is very true of a lot of mental illnesses. I'm gonna take self-harm as an example because it's the easiest to compare two people because it's an outer problem. With depression it's hard to compare because our symptoms are so different. With self-harm you can see self-harm most of the time. People do cut themselves. So let's talk about self-harm for an example. When I was a teenager I would cut in places that no one would see because I didn't want people to know. But then as I progressed in my self-harm addiction I wanted people to know. Self-harm on my hands, on my feet, on my legs, on my everywhere. I would look up pictures of self-harm on the internet because I wanted to see other people's struggles with it. I wanted to know that other people were struggling with it. So I would go online and look. And then when I would look, you would see gruesome, gory self-harm pictures. I'll have a video up explaining my thoughts on self-harm, gory pictures, but let me just talk about this now. I would look at those pictures and I would compare my self-harm to their pictures of self-harm. And I would think, I'm not cutting that much. I don't need stitches. They heal pretty fast. I guess I'm not really a self-harmer because I only self-harm like once a month. They heal really quickly. Well, I can't be a self-harmer. But in reality, no matter what you do to self-harm, whether you're banging, you're pulling your hair, you're cutting, you're burning, anything, if you're hurting yourself, you're self-harming. You are a self-harmer. You can't determine someone's mental health struggles through the severity of their self-harm. Now with my subscriber, she was saying that her self-harm, she wouldn't relapse as much as other people. She said that other people were having more struggles than she was, and she would feel that her relapses weren't as severe as other people's relapses. You can't compare two people with self-harm because both of these people, say Sally over here only cuts herself once a month and then Richard over here cuts himself every day, they're still hurting. You can't determine someone's mental health struggles based on the severity of their cuts, the severity of their self-harm or the self-injury. To compare yourself to someone else's mental illness and say they have it a lot worse than I do, so I probably am not mentally ill, is not helping your recovery. It is not helping your progress to get better. Now, if you have depression and you see someone else with depression and you see, man, they're having it a lot worse than me, their symptoms are more severe than mine, I probably am not depressed. You're still depressed. Your symptoms are just different. No, I'm not going to tell you if you have a mental illness or not because that's not my place. You need to go get help, talk to a therapist, talk to your parents. I was telling my subscriber, therapy is not a scary thing. It is scary going in there, and it's scary because we feel like we're going to be judged for what we're doing to ourselves or how we're feeling or messed up thoughts in our head. You think that the therapist is going to make fun of you or judge you, and I'm here to tell you, hopefully that's not the case. Most therapists want to help you. That's their passion in life. They want to help you. They want you to get better. They want you to succeed in life, and they're here to give a hand and pull you back up and say you can do it. Here are some coping skills. Let's work on this together. Therapists are supposed to be your friend. They're supposed to be the person that you go to and talk to about things you can't tell anyone else. So don't be ashamed to go to therapy. Don't be scared to go to therapy. It might be scary the first time, but I guarantee you it's gonna help. Don't compare your mental illness to someone else's and write it off as you're not mentally ill, because yes, that person may have it harder. You're struggling right now and you need help right now. If you are depressed, if you are thinking that you might have any type of mental illness problem, please reach out. And I know I only talk about depression, anxiety, self-harm on this channel because that's what I've been going through, but there's so many other mental health issues out there that I have not talked about. Reach out to get help because that's going to help you in your recovery, and that's going to help you in your life, and you're going to have a better life if you're going to reach out. Hope this video helps someone out there. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time with another mental health video.